Mark had never been one for grand declarations. But that Thursday evening, as he stood in the softly lit hallway of their modest London flat, something inside him shifted. Maya, his girlfriend of nearly 3 years, was busy fussing over her reflection in the full-length mirror by the door, dressed in a striking emerald green dress that hugged her curves just right. Her black stilettos clicked sharply against the hardwood floor, and a delicate silver necklace glinted at her throat, an accessory that perfectly complemented her sharp cheekbones and fiery auburn hair pulled into a loose chignon. She turned, her lips curving into a smug smile. "You know, Mark," she said, voice dripping with that familiar mix of pride and condescension, "other blokes would kill to have someone like me. You should be grateful." Mark, a 32-year-old graphic designer with a quiet charm and a penchant for irony, smiled back. Not the kind of smile you see in rom-coms, but one that held the weight of years spent swallowing insults disguised as jokes. "Then let him try," he said softly. Maya's smile faltered for a fraction of a second, her eyes narrowing just a touch. "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means you're right," Mark replied as he grabbed his leather duffel bag from the hall closet. "We're done, Maya." The flat seemed to hold its breath. Maya's face twisted from confusion into a furious sneer. "You're breaking up with me over that? Because you're insecure?" Mark shook his head, the calm resolve in his voice surprising even himself. "No, I'm just not interested in being grateful anymore." What followed was a tirade, words hurled with the force of years bottled up. Accusations, pleas, threats. But Mark simply packed the last of his things, ignoring the storm. As he reached the door, Maya's voice dropped to a venomous whisper. "Don't forget Liam and Chloe's engagement party on Saturday. It'll be so embarrassing to see you alone." Mark paused, the key in his hand, and gave her a slow, deliberate smile. "I'll be there. Don't worry about me." That weekend, Mark introduced his stunning new date, Isabella, to their friends at the party in a cozy pub nestled in the heart of Richmond. Isabella wore a simple yet elegant navy dress that skimmed her knees, paired with classic nude heels. Her hair cascaded in soft waves, framing a face alive with quick wit and warmth. She carried herself with an ease that was magnetic, and her laughter filled the room like a fresh breeze. Maya, watching from across the room, forced a smile that didn't reach her eyes. The game was on. But Mark wasn't playing anymore as the night unfolded. The tension crackled like static electricity. Maya's charm offensive met with Isabella's effortless grace. And Mark? He was finally free, stepping out from under the weight of a love that had never been his to hold. Yet, beneath the laughter and clinking glasses, a quiet question lingered in the air. What would Maya do next when the mask finally slipped? The engagement party was in full swing at the Fox and Hound, a charming pub tucked away on a bustling street in Richmond. Fairy lights twinkled overhead, casting a warm glow on the eclectic crowd gathered inside. Mark and Isabella arrived just as the band struck up a lively tune, the kind that made you want to dance even if your feet had other plans. Isabella's navy dress clung to her slender frame in all the right places, the subtle shimmer of the fabric catching the light every time she moved. Her delicate silver bracelet jingled softly as she raised her glass, and her soft pink lipstick made her smile glow. Mark, in a tailored charcoal blazer and crisp white shirt, felt a rare confidence settle over him. No awkward glances, no silent apologies, just this moment. They weaved through clusters of friends, exchanging hellos and sharing jokes. Isabella's laughter was like music, light and genuine, and it drew people in effortlessly. Mark felt the familiar weight of Maya's gaze before he even saw her, a cold, sharp stare that prickled his skin. He glanced over to find her standing by the fire pit in the garden, the dark hem of her deep red dress swishing as she gestured animatedly to Sarah and Ben. "She's already working the room," Isabella whispered with a mischievous grin. "Target acquired at 9 o'clock sharp." Mark chuckled, shaking his head. "She's perfected the brave little soldier act. It's almost impressive." Almost. The moment Maya spotted them, her story crumbled. The animated gestures stopped mid-air, her mouth tightening into a brittle smile. Sarah and Ben's eyes widened, caught between shock and disbelief. Maya's forced calm broke as she started approaching with the slow, Deliberate stride of a cat preparing to pounce. Showtime, Isabella muttered, raising her glass in mock salute. Maya stopped just a breath away, voice syrupy but sharp. Mark, and you've brought a friend. Isabella, Mark said smoothly, stepping forward. This is Isabella. Isabella's smile was warm and genuine, a stark contrast to the tense air. Lovely to meet you. Maya's smile stretched thin, teeth showing in a grimace. Moving on so quickly. Desperate, don't you think? Mark's eyes flicked to the nearby guests, then back to Maya. Not at all. You made it clear on Thursday. You said other men would kill to have you. So I'm just doing what you asked. Letting them try. Color drained from Maya's face, then surged back in angry waves. Her smile slipped, revealing the fury beneath. That's not what I meant, she hissed. But it's exactly what you said, Mark replied coolly. Clarity is a gift. He draped an arm lightly around Isabella's waist and led her back toward the bar, leaving Maya standing dumbfounded, the room buzzing with whispered conversations. Later, as Isabella stepped outside to take a call, Sarah cornered Mark near the dartboard. Arms crossed, she wore a look part sympathy, part accusation. This is cruel, Mark, she said quietly. Maya's heartbroken, and you're flaunting this new person right in front of her. It's disrespectful. Mark met her gaze steadily. Did Maya tell you why we broke up? Sarah hesitated. You freaked out over a silly comment and kicked her out. The silly comment was her telling me I should be grateful she allowed me to be her boyfriend. And the home she's kicked out of? The lease is in my name. Sarah's face softened for a moment before she shook her head. You're supposed to be the bigger person. Mark's voice dropped, steady and firm. No, I'm supposed to be happy. Maya's upset, but that's her problem now. Not mine. Sarah looked flustered, searching for a reply, then gave a sharp glance toward where Isabella was returning. She melted away into the crowd as Mark and Isabella left the party later. Maya's voice cut through the hum of laughter and music like a razor. He's just pathetic, she spat. Rebound relationships never last. He'll come crawling back when he realizes what he's lost. Mark didn't look back. He didn't need to. But the night had only just begun and the real battle was yet to come. Because Maya wasn't done, not by a long shot. And somewhere in the shadows a plan was already unfolding. The following week descended like a storm over Mark's once peaceful life. His phone buzzed relentlessly. Messages from Maya's so-called friends, their words sharp as thorns. Sarah led the charge, her texts dripping with faux concern, each one a jab disguised as sympathy. You're breaking her heart, one read. Have some decency, said another. Mark ignored them all, but the real battle had only just begun. Then came the calls. First, Maya's mother, Cassandra. A formidable woman with a voice as cold and precise as a London fog. Mark, you can't just throw my daughter out, she said, every word laced with icy accusation. It makes you look weak, irresponsible. You have a duty to support her lifestyle. Mark let out a dry chuckle. Cassandra, I'm supporting nothing. The lease is in my name and we're done. Good day. He hung up before she could protest further and promptly blocked her number. Next, the digital battlefield erupted. Maya's social media exploded with cryptic posts, artistic black and white selfies, teary-eyed captions about betrayal and healing, and vague accusations that sent a flood of sympathy from strangers who only knew the curated version of her life. Mutual friends quietly unfriended Mark, the silent judgment stinging more than any insult. But then came the real blow on Wednesday afternoon. Mark's chest tightened as he opened an email from HR with the subject line, formal complaint. His heart sank. The accusation was as absurd as it was malicious. Using company resources for a side business, his woodworking hobby, and creating a hostile work environment with erratic behavior. It was classic Maya, a calculated attempt to sabotage his career. Mark requested an immediate meeting with Richard, his boss, and Linda, the head of HR. With calm clarity, he laid out the truth. The breakup, the bitterness, the threats. He even produced a note he'd scribbled months earlier after an argument, where Maya had explicitly threatened to ruin him professionally. Richard and Linda exchanged grim looks but appreciated Mark's transparency. The investigation began, but Mark's mind was already racing. plotting the next move. He wasn't about to let Maya's vendetta destroy him. That Thursday evening, an anonymous text lit up his phone. "This is Maya. Using Sarah's phone. I'll be at the flat Saturday at noon to collect my things." Mark's fingers hovered over the keyboard before he typed back, "Saturday noon is fine." Then he made 2 calls. One to a moving company, the other to a high-end consignment shop specializing in designer furniture. Friday came with a quiet victory. HR called him in to confirm the complaint was dismissed. Malicious and unrelated to work. Richard clapped him on the shoulder. "We've got your back, Mark." Mark smiled, feeling the weight lift. But the real showdown awaited. Saturday morning was crisp and clear. At 9 a.m., the movers arrived, their trucks rumbling softly as they packed Maya's belongings with clinical efficiency. Boxes piled high, clothes, books, toiletries, everything meticulously labeled and sealed. The velvet couch Mark despised, the stained glass coffee table, the hideous abstract painting that had always clashed with his minimalist taste. All loaded away, destined for the consignment shop at 11:45. Isabella arrived, carrying a couple of pizzas, her laughter filling the empty flat with warmth. Her simple white blouse and tailored jeans made her look effortlessly chic, every bit the calm anchor Mark needed. Exactly at noon, the buzzer rang. Mark opened the door to find Maya standing there, flanked by Cassandra and Sarah. Their expressions a mix of entitlement and fury. Maya's smirk faltered as she stepped inside, eyes scanning the stark, box-filled rooms. "What is this?" she demanded. "Where's my couch?" Mark handed her a folder. "Your belongings are in these boxes. The furniture has been moved to storage and consigned for sale. Once sold, you'll receive the proceeds minus moving and storage fees." Cassandra snatched the folder, shrieking, charging her to sell her own. "Furniture. Professional services," Mark corrected evenly. "The first month of storage is paid. She can cancel the consignment and arrange collection herself." Isabella breezed past them, setting plates on the kitchen counter. "Pepperoni or veggie?" she asked Mark without missing a beat. The sight of Isabella so at home sent Maya into a frenzy. She pointed a trembling finger. You turned him against me." Isabella raised an eyebrow, cool and unfazed. "Sorry, have we met?" Maya lunged at the boxes, throwing one to the floor. "I am not being erased," she screamed, kicking another. Mark stepped forward, voice low and steady. "Enough. Get out. You have 5 minutes to remove these boxes. Damage anything else, and I'll call the police." Cassandra wailed about breakdowns and tantrums, but Mark's resolve was ironclad as he held up his phone. 5 minutes. Starting now. The entourage scrambled, clumsily loading boxes into Sarah's battered SUV. Their anger palpable but powerless as they left. Maya's voice cut through the tension. "You haven't won. Everyone knows you're a petty monster. That little won't stick around." Her words hung in the air, but Mark shook his head. "You loved control, not me. Don't forget that." She slammed the door behind her. Mark exhaled slowly. It was over, or so he thought. Because beneath the surface of calm, a darker storm was brewing. 6 months later, the echoes of that turbulent autumn had faded into a quiet, steady rhythm. Mark's flat in Richmond was no longer a battleground but a sanctuary. Sunlight spilled through the large sash windows, illuminating the warm oak floor and the soft cream walls. The space was tastefully filled, not with expensive designer clutter, but with carefully chosen pieces that told a story. A weathered leather armchair, stacks of well-thumbed books, and proudly centered, a sleek coffee table Mark had crafted himself, its smooth surface bearing the subtle grain of oak and the marks of patient hands. Isabella moved through the room with effortless grace, her soft curls catching the light as she laughed at something Mark said. Her light blue dress was simple but elegant, the kind that hinted at curves without shouting, paired with delicate gold hoop earrings that swung gently as she turned. Her presence was a balm, a reminder that partnership could be easy, that love didn't have to be a battlefield. The social fallout had been quieter than Mark expected. Sarah's campaign to rally friends to Maya's side fizzled quickly, as people grew tired of the endless drama. Ben, Sarah's husband, confided in Mark that the strain was showing in their marriage. "She's fighting a losing battle," he said with a weary smile. Maya's once glittering social media presence had dimmed to near silence. When Mark checked her LinkedIn one day, the status had switched to open to work, a subtle but damning admission. Word had spread quietly in their circles. After the HR complaint backfired spectacularly, her firm had distanced themselves. The attempt to burn bridges had left her stranded. Mark transferred the proceeds from the consignment sales directly to Maya's account, each transaction labeled asset liquidation in cold, impersonal text. No messages, no apologies, no retaliation. Just the quiet closing of a chapter. But peace, Mark knew, was never quite so simple. One evening, as he and Isabella sat on the balcony overlooking the Thames, their fingers intertwined and the city lights sparkling below, Mark's phone buzzed. An unknown number flashed on the screen. He answered cautiously. "Mark, it's Sarah," came the strained voice. "Sarah? What's going on?" There was a pause. I think Maya's planning something. Something bigger. She's not done. Mark's stomach tightened. "What do you mean?" "I don't know yet. But she's been talking to some people. People who don't like you. You need to be careful." The line went dead before Mark could ask more. He looked out at the river, the quiet flow belying the storm gathering beneath. Isabella squeezed his hand. "Whatever it is, we'll face it together." Mark nodded, but deep down, he felt the old tension coil once more. The past wasn't finished with him yet, and this time, the game was far from over. The soft hum of the city at night settled around Mark's flat like a familiar cloak, but inside, tension prickled the air. He paced the length of the living room, the warm glow from the standing lamp casting long shadows across the polished oak floor. Isabella sat on the edge of the velvet sofa, her legs crossed elegantly, dressed tonight in a sleek black dress that hinted at curves without revealing too much, a quiet confidence in fabric form. Her silver necklace caught the light as she tilted her head, concern knitting her brows. "Sarah's warning isn't something to take lightly," Isabella said, her voice steady but edged with unease. "If Maya's talking to people who have it in for you." Mark stopped mid-step, running a hand through his dark hair. "I've dealt with her before, but this feels different, more calculated. I don't know what she's planning, but it's not just about me anymore." He glanced toward the window, where the Thames shimmered under the moonlight. "She's always been good at playing the victim. But now, she's dangerous." Isabella stood and crossed the room, placing a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "Whatever it is, we'll handle it. You're not alone." Mark gave a small, grateful smile, but the knot in his stomach tightened. The next morning, Mark arrived at the office to a chill that had nothing to do with the spring breeze. Whispers followed him down the polished corridors, eyes flickering away when he met them. His inbox was flooded with cryptic messages, unsigned notes slipped under his door, and his desk was marked with a single black rose, an ominous symbol that sent a shiver down his spine. "Tea lunch?" Richard pulled him aside, voice low. "Mark, there's been some chatter. Nothing concrete yet, but heads up. The industry's a small world, and rumors spread fast. Just keep your head down." Mark nodded, the weight of the warning settling like lead. That evening, as he and Isabella returned to the flat, the door was ajar. His heart jumped. Inside, the place was a mess. Drawers pulled out, papers scattered. A shattered picture frame lay on the floor. Someone had been here. Isabella's eyes widened. "We need to call the police." Mark crouched, picking up a torn scrap of paper from the floor. On it was scrawled a single chilling phrase: "You can't run forever." A cold smile crept onto his lips, but it wasn't one of victory. It was a warning. Outside, the city's pulse carried on unaware, but inside Mark's home, the quiet battle had escalated into something far more dangerous, and the question lingered in the shadows. Who would make the next move, and at what cost?